始于16世纪的跨大西洋黑奴贸易，在经历了3个世纪的发展以后，它为欧洲人在美洲的殖民地提供了大量的廉价劳动力，进而又为欧洲社会创造出了惊人的财富。一份数据显示，18世纪后半叶的工业革命时期，作为工业革命发源地的不列颠，其经济中每12英镑就有1英镑是来自奴隶贸易和西印度种植园的贡献。事实上，早在18世纪，英国就已经超过了其他欧洲国家，成为了非洲最大的奴隶贩子。到了18世纪末，甚至1半以上的西非奴隶跨大西洋运输都是由英国商船完成的。直到反奴隶贸易的活动家诸如威廉·威尔伯福斯等人发起了声势浩大的反奴隶运动，英国才最终在1807年通过了废除奴隶贸易的法案，禁止英国商船从事奴隶贸易。
接下来，让我们一起领略威廉·威尔伯福斯动人心弦的演讲和在议会上舌战群雄的精彩对决。
This is a slave ship, the Madagascar. It has just returned from the Indies, where it delivered 200 men, women, and children to Jamaica. When it left Africa, there were 600 on board. The rest died of disease or despair. That smell is the smell of death. Slow, painful death. Breathe it in. Breathe it deeply. Take those handkerchiefs away from your noses. There now. Remember that smell. Remember the Madagascar. Remember that God made men equal.
It is with a heavy heart that I bring to the attention of this House a trade which degrades men to the level of brutes and insults the highest qualities of our common nature. I am speaking of the slave trade. I know that many of my honourable friends in this House have interests in the Indies. Others have investments in plantations, others are ship owners. And I believe them to be men of humanity. I believe you all to be men of humanity. And if the wretchedness of any one of the many hundreds of slaves stowed in their ships could be brought to view, there is no other one whose heart could bear it.
Order!
I can hardly believe my ears.
We can hardly believe your mouth.
It seems my young friend opposite has a long-term strategy to destroy the very nation that spawned it. While I was in Virginia, losing my fingers in battle with the Americans, he was busy appeasing them. Now he would hand over the riches of the Indies to the bloody French. If we didn't have slaves, there would be no plantations. Right? With no plantations, how would we fill the coffers of the king? Now, does my honourable friend really believe that if we left off the trade, the French wouldn't immediately step into our place and reap the rewards?
Another argument in defense of the trade is that the Newfoundland fishing industry is kept afloat by the fact that slaves in the West Indies consume that part of the fish which is fit for no other consumption.
I do feel that if my honourable friend continues to scrape the bottom of the barrel for objections, he is in danger of getting splinters under his fingernails. Now, if I may continue with my argument.
As representative of the great and flourishing commercial town of Liverpool, I must once again remind the House that we have no evidence that the Africans themselves have any objection to the trade. I have here an account written by Mr. Clutterbuck, which states that most slaves in the Indies have a snug little garden with plenty of pigs and poultry. There are many poor families in Liverpool who do not have as much. Which is why, apart from a few mendicant physicians and itinerant clergymen, the ordinary people of Britain are not at all exercised by the whole issue of slavery.
My honourable friend, the member for Liverpool, seeks evidence of people's concern.
In the past year, I and my itinerant clergyman friends
Have been gathering just such evidence. We have taken a petition calling for the abolition of the slave trade to all the great cities of this country. It has been signed by over 390,000 people. However, this petition is not yet complete. There is one more person who wishes to add his name.
Do something.
Mr. Speaker, I humbly request a suspension while we take time to examine the signatures on this document.
There is something very provoking in the dry, calm way my honourable friend seeks delay.
Mr. Speaker, will he not give way?
Is the desolation of Africa suspended?
Please, gentlemen.
Is the work of death suspended?
You bring petitions into the House of Commons.
Mr. Speaker, we cannot
As if this
insult the
country
forebearers of
should
heaven
be
with more
ruled by
delay.
the rule of the mob rather than its natural rulers.
Order!
The rule of paper reeks of rebellion.
No matter how loud you shout, you will not drown out the voice of the people! Political discussion of political subjects. The issue of slavery is not made any less important by the unrelated issues of war. In war or in peace, the buying and selling of human beings is equally important. But this is not a seditious statement.
First, let me be clear. After long consideration and much consultation, I am in favor of the abolition of the slave trade. There's no doubt in my mind that this trade in human beings is an almighty calumny and is a disgrace to this nation. However, I also take the point of my honourable friend, the member for Liverpool. If we were to outlaw the trade tomorrow, this would bring financial disaster to many of the great cities and industries of this country. I therefore suggest a period of reflection.
After a year and a half of Privy Council investigations, what good would it do to delay the inevitable?
Inevitable? Is my honourable friend already counting the votes before they are cast?
I didn't mean that.
If the trade were to be abolished, I suggest that we do so gradually. Violent storms sink ships. This great ship of state must not be sunk by a wave of good intention.
Order! Order! On the Home and Foreign Slave Trade Act, the unamended bill calling for the abolition of the slave trade throughout the entire British Empire
Nose to the left, 16. Eyes to the right, 283.
I declare the bill of abolition of the slave trade to be passed.
When people speak of great men, they think of men like Napoleon, men of violence. Rarely do they think of peaceful men. But contrast the reception they'll receive when they return home from their battles. Napoleon will arrive in pomp and in power, a man who's achieved the very summit of earthly ambition. And yet his dreams will be haunted by the oppressions of war. William Wilberforce, however, will return to his family, lay his head on his pillow, and remember, the slave trade is no more.
威廉·威尔伯福斯，一个在历史上被永久铭记的名字，出生于英格兰赫尔市一个富裕的商人家庭，是著名的英国政治家和社会改革家。他以不懈努力废除跨大西洋奴隶贸易和在废奴运动中发挥的关键作用而闻名于世。他坚定的决心和道义勇气为历史上最重要的人道主义胜利铺平了道路。威廉·威尔伯福斯在剑桥大学接受教育，表现出对社会和政治事务的浓厚兴趣。他于1785年皈依福音派基督教。这成为他一生中最重要的时刻。从那时起，他的信仰与对社会正义的热情紧密联系在一起，引领他走上了改变历史进程的道路。1787年，威尔伯福斯作为赫尔市的国会议员 MP 进入英国议会。受到信仰的启发以及对正义的深刻认识的推动，他致力于废除跨大西洋奴隶贸易的事业。超过20年的时间里，威尔伯福斯不知疲倦地为非洲奴隶的权利和自由而奋斗。威尔伯福斯的第一次重大努力是在1791年提出的废奴贸易法案。然而不幸的是，该法案没有成功。然而，他并没有被最初的挫折打倒，他坚持不懈，并在随后的几年里提出了许多法案，每个法案都遭到了阻力和反对。他激情四溢的演讲以及令人信服的证据，帮助改变了公众舆论，并为废奴主义事业赢得了支持。尽管废除奴隶贸易是一次重大胜利，但威尔伯福斯意识到斗争远未结束，他继续不知疲倦地为奴隶的完全解放而奔走。他的努力最终在1833年的废奴法中得以体现，该法律废除了大多数英国殖民地的奴隶制度。不幸的是，威尔伯福斯未能亲眼目睹这一历史性成就，因为他在1833年7月29日去世，就在该法获得皇家同意的3天前。威廉·威尔伯福斯对历史的影响不可低估，他对正义和人的尊严的坚定承诺树立了强大的榜样，影响着后代。通过他的道义领导力和政治才能，他激发了一个改变世界对待奴隶制和人权的运动。威尔伯福斯的遗产超越了大英帝国的边界，影响了其他废奴运动，并为全球反奴隶制斗争做出了贡献。在他的一生中，威廉·威尔伯福斯展现了坚定的决心、道义勇气和卓越的领导能力。他在废奴运动中的不懈努力，帮助改变了公众的看法，改变了政治局势， 并为最终消除奴隶制做出了贡献。他作为人道主义英雄和正义倡导者的遗产，继续激励着后代，提醒我们坚持不懈的力量和为正义而战的重要性。